You have almost completed your studies and only have to defend your thesis or dissertation in a presentation? Then you should definitely stay tuned, because in this video we will discuss how you present your results in the best possible way and successfully defend yourself against the attacks of the examiners. We will go through your personal thesis presentation in 7 simple steps, so that you are perfectly prepared for your big day and go home with an outstanding grade. And now, without further ado, welcome to Shribe. Many thanks to Shribe for sponsoring this video. More about Shribe later. What is a thesis or dissertation defense? It is supposed to be a discussion between experts. You have already proven that you're an expert in your field with your thesis. Therefore, the term defending your thesis is a somewhat misleading term. The defense of your thesis is not about justifying your approach, since you have already discussed it thoroughly with your supervisor in previous discussions and handed in the written manuscript. Rather, this additional requirement serves to test whether you can discuss your topic at a high level. The structure of a defense at your university depends on the examination regulations. However, typically such an event is structured as follows: 20 minutes time for presentation and 20 minutes of discussion for a master's thesis, and about 45 minutes each for a PhD thesis. During such a thesis defense, examiners do not want to tear apart your thesis or fail you. They want you to pass and just want to discuss the results of your research with you in person. Oftentimes, such a defense is only a formality to them. From a student's perspective, the situation may seem a bit different. Such a presentation does not happen every day, and discussing a research topic with multiple professors can seem a bit intimidating at first. But there's absolutely nothing to worry about if you prepare like a pro. And I am going to show you how to do this. By following these 7 steps during your preparation phase, you will leave a lasting impression in addition to your already outstanding thesis and secure the grade that you deserve. First, read your thesis from a bird's eye view. Typically, a few weeks pass between submitting your thesis and defending it. Use this break to celebrate submitting your thesis and enjoy the peace after a stressful time. Don't stress out about the defense and leave your work untouched for at least a week. Once you have regained your strength and feel ready to prepare for your defense, read your thesis again. However, this time read it from the perspective of an outsider. Try to put yourself in the shoes of an examiner and evaluate its strengths, weaknesses, and get an unbiased overview. With a little distance, you can view your work much more objectively and from a new perspective, even though it's still your own words. 2. Prepare your presentation. Now let's dive into the details. Your defense will most likely start with a presentation that will also make up a large part of this final exam. Now your skills that you have acquired during your studies in presentations are required. For a regular presentation within a seminar, I would follow the principle to stand out as creatively as possible from the other presentations. However, for the defense, a slightly more sober variant is recommended in order to do justice to the importance of this presentation. These 3 points about the contents of your presentation should definitely be considered. Structure your presentation like your thesis. In your defense, unless otherwise required, you concisely tell the story of your thesis. This means that you must come up with a similar structure to be able to completely retell your story and its arguments. This means a brief introduction, your research motivation, a slide with the background, a methodology slide, results, discussion, and most importantly, contributions. Don't forget limitations and recommendations for further research. Focus in your presentation on the results and contributions. 1 slide or 2 about the background is okay, but do not spend too long on this. Citing other literature is needed, but not something that will get you to impress the examiners. You should focus as much as possible on your unique data, results, and contributions. Sketch out your time allocation. Depending on how much time you have, you should plan exactly how many minutes will be allocated to each part of your presentation. The more important the section, the more time you should plan for it. You then practice each part of your presentation until you nail it within the set time. These 3 points about the style of your presentation also belong to the roadmap for a successful defense. Choose a simple but appealing design template. If there is an official template from your university, grab it and adopt the best features. Usually, such templates are a bit boring. In a regular presentation, we could be more creative here, but for such a formal appointment as the defense, you should play it safe with the slide design. If there is no template provided, incorporate the university or department logo into your presentation and give the rest of the design its own professional touch with a custom font and your illustrations, such as figures and tables. Never use more than 2 different font styles and sizes. Use as little text as possible. The standard advice for successful presentations should not be neglected for the defense. Everyone present knows how much you have to report on your topic. However, do not overload your slides with text. A maximum of 3 to 4 bullet points per slide is more than enough. Try to convey even more information orally instead of just repeating what is on the slides. Also, work with the figures and tables from your thesis. Here, no additional work is required as you have already implemented your figures and tables in your text. Explaining the results of your work using beautiful figures is an absolute key step. Make sure the labels and other text are displayed large enough. Images with pixels in them are an absolute no-go and will lower your grade. So copy them into your PowerPoint slides in the best quality resolution. Reference your bullet points. Now back to the text on your slides. Everything that belongs to the introduction, literature and theory sections, as well as the discussion, must be referenced exactly as in your written work. Add the corresponding authors in parentheses behind your bullet points with a slightly smaller font size. Several sources behind a single statement are also welcome. The more the better. It should look something like this. Now, as a final tip for the preparation, I would like to urge you to practice definitions and explanations. The better you can explain a complex issue in understandable language using simple, logical arguments, the better your scientific performance can be evaluated. Practice for the question and answer part. When you are done with your defense presentation, the exciting part for everyone involved is just beginning. A small, informal discussion with questions and answers. At this point, it's worth noting that you really don't need to panic. Professors are just humans who tell politically incorrect jokes to their colleagues after work and have one too many glasses of Vino Verde on weekends. In a defense, they don't want to embarrass anyone, but rather test how easily you can have a conversation about a scientific topic with them. So stay relaxed and take a few seconds to let a question sink in before you answer. If you did not understand the question, ask for clarification. This is not a problem at all. Rather ask for clarification than go on without getting the question. If you can manage to name authors you've read for your work and also consider your own opinion on the topic, the examiners will love you. If you can critically reflect on your topic and your own work by embedding it in a scientific discourse and its researchers, you've already won. The clearer you describe your approach during your defense presentation, the fewer questions there will be about it afterwards. In the end, there may be questions that demand a prediction about the future of your topic. Therefore, think about how research like yours could look like in a few years. Before we continue with step 4, let me just say a few words about the sponsor of this video, Shribe. If you are looking for a proofreading service or plagiarism check for your scientific work, I can wholeheartedly recommend the team at Shribe. Just have a look at shribe.com and send me a short email at info@shribe.eu for an exclusive coupon code. Imagine the worst case scenario. The discussion can't be 100% practiced because you do not know what the questions will be. But you can influence the questions by eliminating all uncertainties preemptively in your presentation. Once the content of your slides is ready, it's time to practice your speech. The more you practice your defense presentation, the more unlikely will be a worst-case scenario. I'm not joking here, but if you want to deliver a really good presentation, just practice it 47 times or 22 times, depending on how long it takes until it's memorized. Practice it until you can recite it even in your sleep. You don't want to recite your speech like a robot, but rather come across as spontaneous yet confident. The better you've practiced your speech, the more you can focus on other things like your body language or eye contact. Practice, practice, practice. Grab a friend, your aunt, your dog, and use them as a test audience. Starting the day of your defense. The presentation is prepared, the USB stick is cleaned and rid of unpleasant vacation pictures. Now it can begin. On the evening before your presentation, you should check again whether everything is complete and functioning properly. Take 2 buses earlier. Leave 1 hour early in case a truck carrying M&Ms crashes on the way to the university. Wear a proper shirt. For ladies, as fancy as always. Have oatmeal, fruit and nuts for breakfast. But the main thing is that you have breakfast. Go to the room before anyone else and prepare the technology. Wish everyone a good morning. Rock your referees. Now you can show what you have achieved in the past months. Be confident. You are the expert in the room. Even if the armchair critics in the audience ask you critical questions, you will easily brush them off because you are well prepared. Visualize how you have successfully passed your defense. And before you know it, it becomes reality. You have passed. Not just the defense, but your entire degree. Congratulations. Achievements should be celebrated. Don't schedule any other appointments on the day of your defense, but indulge in your favorite activities. Treat yourself to a great meal, perhaps some champagne, or an afternoon with no obligations. Maybe even take a vacation. An exhausting time is behind you, and an exciting one lies ahead. To help your mind separate these sections, plan a break. And then you start your next adventure with full force.